Losing My Religion with Dan, Jackie, and Sunjata.
Hello and welcome. This is Losing My Religion, the podcast with Daniel Rugunya.
What's up?
Jackie Wanjohi.
Hey.
And Sunjata Keita, the man himself. Anyway, jokes aside, we wanted to have this podcast as a way of just reaching out and sharing our own stories, our own backgrounds about how we've experienced religion, spirituality, and our journey so far. So we wanted to start off this first episode answering those questions, sharing our own background so that you as the audience can have a clear picture of who we are, where we're coming from, and what this podcast will be about. Yes, so tunaweza anza na wewe Dan. I don't know if you are ready to share your background basically on how you your journey religiously or spiritually. We've been trying not to call it spiritually or religion because it could have some certain biases, but for you specifically, Dan, what has been your journey spiritually?
Well, I think those are two levels that you mentioned. In my perspective, I think there's a level of religion which is more, for me, I would say, is more platonic. It's you know, you remember in Swahili we used to have maana ya juu na maana ya ndani. I feel like religion is more about the activities, the things we do, the rituals. It's about going to church or going to the mosque or waking up in the morning to pray. That I think the external manifestation of the activities that we do is religion. While I think faith is a much deeper level. It's more about what you believe, why you believe it. For the people who believe in a personal relationship with God, that actual personal relationship with God amounts to faith. So I think those are like two different levels, faith and religion. The reason why we came up with the name Losing My Religion is because it's simply alluding to the idea that faith is more important because like that lasts.
Yes.
For anybody who believes, for anybody who has the perspective of there is more beyond the here and the now, then faith is an eternal thing, like it lasts beyond time. But religion is the things that we do and we do and we do, and then when we die, it's over. Yeah. So I was just thinking about
what has been your journey.
Niacha story mingi. My journey, when I think about my own personal experience, I think about being born into a Christian home, as many people were. Then growing up, very diligent in terms of going to church, waking up, having morning devotions, being woken up very early. Man, those things. At 5 a.m. You're being woken up. So all those rituals at home. Then at the age of I think 8, I had what, in Christianity, we say a salvation experience. I had my salvation experience. My dad prayed for me. So basically,
did you understand what was happening?
Yeah, actually, what I was at the time, I didn't necessarily understand, but I always remember the feeling. And I think I always talk about that feeling that day and like in the period that ensued after that. The feeling I got was a feeling of overwhelming peace and joy. And I usually say to this day, I have never experienced something similar. And I think that is one of the things that really gives me a lot of confidence in the things that I believe in. But, just to speak about, because, there's probably someone who's listening and, if someone is not a Christian, they're like, what's salvation? What is a salvation experience? So
what is it?
It's essentially now, with time, growing up and learning more about it, it's when we look at it now from the definition that we Christians get from the Bible is when you believe in your heart and you confess with your mouth that Christ is Lord. So I
Christ is
think
Lord.
so I think that's the experience of, it's like coming from a place of maybe not believing to believing, not confessing in terms of pronouncing it and saying it, because that's a thing you find with people who are saved. They are often saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, I am born again." So it becomes like a label that you put on yourself. Both outside and inside. So that's like the experience.
Yes.
So I have been in church since I was small. I was in PCA.
That was since you were 6 years old.
What's that?
Since you're 6 years old.
Well, I was going to church before because I was baptized. I was about to say I remember being baptized when I was 2 months old, but I can't remember. My mom tells me they took me to church and I was baptized when I was 2 years old. But then I grew up. I moved from the church where I was. I moved to another church and I was baptized as a grown up. Now, like the baptism where you go to the river. Okay, it wasn't
the
a river.
Immersion.
Yeah, the immersion. Full body immersion.
Yeah.
You're taken to the river.
It wasn't a river. It was a swimming pool. I was baptized in a swimming pool. Yes.
Did you receive the Holy Spirit after that?
Yes.
Did you speak in tongues?
I had an experience. The story of speaking in tongues is very interesting, but I don't want to get into that right now. But I have
we will get into that later.
I'm sure over the course of the coming episodes, that's one of the things we're going to talk about. But essentially, I had been in church since I was small. I moved to another church when I grew up, and I stayed there for like 10 years. Until about 1 year ago. So for the last 1 year or so, I stopped going to that church about one and a half years ago. And I haven't been to church very many times since that time. Yeah, so I think long and short, that would probably be my journey.
Amazing. So what about you, Jackie? Could you share your story of your journey with faith, with religion, with spirituality? However you want to call it.
Yeah. So religion, just as Dan had said, I feel like religion is how we treat either the Christian faith or the Islamic or the Buddhist. Like it's the one blanket. Like it's not personal.
Religion,
Yeah. But I feel when you talk of spiritual, it's more of a personal thing,
journey.
Yeah, it's something very, very personal. So so religion wise, I am a Christian. Then my spiritual journey, disclaimer, I think I have gotten saved so many times, and it's not even a point of getting saved. I'd say where you backslide, come back, backslide, come back. Your mind is hey. Well, we stopped counting. We stopped backsliding. But for the past, let's see, from 2009 to 2017, I can't count how many times the altar call was made. And every time the spirit will be like, Jackie, you're not right.
It's you.
Yeah. So I think like officially when I stopped, going back and forth with the altar calls, that should be in the year 20. I'm serious, guys. That should be in the year 2017. And at that time, I felt like everything was just going well for me, but there was zero peace. Like, okay. Like, is it work? Work is going well. Relationships. And I'm not even meaning like romantic relationships, like even with friends, with family, everything seems to be so in line. Like, I can't say something was wrong at that time, but something kept telling me something is amiss. Like, you're not complete. And I remember that time, I looked for an elder in church. She was a lady. Because I used to ask God, okay, fine. You're telling me something is missing. So how do you want me to go about it? Because I just can't go and start telling people, by the way, even feels like, are you rubbing in on people are struggling and you're not? No. So I remember on a Sunday, back in February, actually, I should be on the 11th or 14th. So I walked up to this lady. She was a church elder. So I told her, I just need to pray for me. I just need to rededicate my life